What's up guys, today we're going to learn how to get good at the Mastiff. I'm not going to make a long intro or ramble on and on. You came here to get good at the Mastiff, right? Well, that's what we're going to do. Let's get into it. Okay, so for tip number 1, it is always ADS. Every single time, if you can. There are some situations where you can't always ADS, where you hip firing is just more convenient so you can move, and that's fine. But if you can ADS every time you fight, you 100% should. Like as I'm going to show here, when you ADS, you literally just do more damage at specific ranges, if not all ranges as far as I'm concerned. Like medium range, you go from doing 70 to 80 or 90 damage to hip firing and doing 30 to 20, like it's just a huge difference. It's like a 40 damage every shot is a way big difference. That's enough to win a fight or lose a fight every time. So you got to make sure you're ADSing. It is going to help you every single time. Like the spread just gets tighter and you just do so much more damage. It's like a built-in choke for the Mastiff. Just like make sure you ADS. Okay, so tip number 2 is aim center mass. It seems like a dumb tip that everyone should know. It's really not. It's not that obvious as you think. So imagine in a fight, right? And you're trying to go for a headshot for whatever reason, because you want to see like the 120 damage. It's a huge shot. It's a good lead off. And then he crouches. And no, you just missed the shot entirely. So you see the problem with that? So imagine instead of going for 110 or 120, instead you go for his chest and go for 90 every single time, which is going to be way more consistent and it's going to win you fights all the time. So even if he does crouch, right, now he's crouching into your chest shot, which is going to now hit him in the head for crouching. So now you're getting rewarded for trying to always hit chest, and now you get the headshot too when he crouches. So it's a win-win, Like you want the consistency over the super high damage like one-time shot. Like going for heads, it's just super unrealistic. Just don't do it. Center mass every single time. Get your 90s in every time you fight. And I promise you'll win way more fights doing that. So tip number 3 is movement. This is a 2-part tip, and by that I mean one part of it is how you move when you fight with Mastiff, and the second part is what angles you take and how you play around them. So for the first part, movement, right? Make sure you are moving while you're shooting. Whether it be moving left to right, crouch spamming, or both, you need to make yourself as unpredictable as possible. How can the enemy kill you if you can't predict your movement, right? And it makes it miss shots on top of that. So movement is also just as important as the shot itself. Okay, so for the second part of tip number 3, angles and how to play around them. Let's say someone is fighting you on a door, right? Don't just sit in the door and fight. The enemy is going to destroy you for making yourself such an easy target like that. You need to play around the angle well. Like minimize the time he can see you while you fight. If I'm fighting someone on a door, don't just sit in the door itself. Quick peek it, shoot it, back off the angle, wait a second, quick peek it again, shoot, etc. That's just one way to approach an angle. There's plenty of correct ways to do it, but you just need to feel it out every time you fight. Just don't make yourself too predictable and don't make yourself an easy target to hit. Tip number 4 is tracking and flex shots. Let's find a way to make these consistent and not just flashy. So at the very root of this, it comes down to how comfortable you are with your sensitivity. If you already love your sensitivity, then good, we're on the right path. So to train your flex shots and tracking, I would recommend 1v running friends in firing range and just flicking on each other and tracking it with Mastiff for a little bit every day till you see true progress. Also, doing it on dummies is fine as well, and make sure you practice in pubs too. For tracking specifically, you need to learn how to have trigger discipline. Stop shooting your gun just to hope it lands. Make sure you are putting the crosshair on them, then you shoot. It will go a long way to make sure you are actually hitting your shots, not just shooting, hoping it hits, right? A huge tip to help you land shots against players with good movement is to stop trying to predict where they're going and instead to adapt on the fly. React to what they're doing instead of guessing. Tip number 5 you have to know is when is a good time to switch to Mastiff and when is a good time to use it. Stop pulling Mastiff out when you are 30 meters away. Pull Mastiff out when you need to reload your main gun, the enemy is getting really close, or they are super low and you need to finish them quickly. The biggest mistake I see people make is use Mastiff at R99 range. Mastiff is a very close quarters gun. You shouldn't be using it to substitute for your wingman, assault rifle, SMG, or etc. if they're about 50 meters, 30 meters away. Like that, you need to reload your R9 instead and keep using that. Stop trying to finish them with Mastiff. Like, it's going to take way too long. You're going to be doing 30 damage at a time. It's just simply not the play. Try to only use this when you're at a very close range in a fight. Tip number 6, and quite possibly the most important tip of this video. Hit your shots. Mess around your sensitivity, see what sights you like on the Mastiff. Whether you like to hip fire really close or ADS, whatever it may be, just get out there and practice with it. You will never become better with it until you try. Figure out what makes you the most consistent with Mastiff. You are the one who is using it. You are the one who's trying to get comfortable with it. Everybody's different. You got to figure out what works specifically for you. I gave you a bunch of tips that will help you, but even past these tips, you got to just figure out what's best for you. That's the best advice I can give. And that's about it for this video. If you guys enjoyed, please make sure to leave a like, subscribe. Maybe share with that guy who always says he hits 10s with his Mastiff. He needs it. Just all that good stuff. I'll be making plenty more of in-depth tips, tutorial, and how-to videos in the very near future, so be on the lookout for those. But that will be it for me. Have a good day, night, whatever it is for you. Just have a good whatever. Peace out, guys.